Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Dank Shrine. As always, I'm here, Toast, and with me we have my partner in crime.
Chase Zilla from Jackson. Welcome you guys to the Dank Shrine episode number 5.
Definitely, man. It feels like we've been doing it forever. I feel like we get better with age, and every time we do it, it just gets a little bit better.
Yeah, man, we're like a sweet, sweet wine or something.
Like a fine scotch. You need to savor us.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, so hopefully the quality is getting a little bit better. We've gotten your guys' feedback. We worked on the overlay. We're gonna cut a little bit of content. We're gonna
Yep.
strictly focus on the StarCraft news. The tournaments. We're gonna cut out a little bit of the Chobo Team League and our personal clan, Born Gosu. We think it just works a little bit better, and we can potentially create some content for our clan on our YouTube. But
Yep.
we'll be uploading to the Dank Shrine YouTube account now, and you guys can go ahead and subscribe to that if you like it. And yeah, that's where you can find us now.
Yeah, make sure you follow us at Dank Shrine on Twitter. That's our media outreach for you guys. We only had one really good question talking balance patch this week. So, guys, if you watch this video, send those in. It doesn't matter at what point in the week we get them. We'll make sure we get them read. Even if it's not relevant to the topics, we'll just read it at the end of the show. We'll still get those questions answered for you.
And it's a great week to submit questions because related to balance patch, we're going to be talking about that a bit. So if you have a strong opinion on the way that the balance suggestions are going, let us know. Hit us up on the Twitter. It's here on the overlay, twitter.com/dankshrine. And yeah, hit us up. Any questions, comments, concerns, balance, whining, you name it. We'll go ahead and address it. So yeah, give us what
Definitely.
you got.
So what we got this week, a little bit short on tournament content with SSL, SPL, GSL all being over. We do have some bigger tournaments coming up, but the biggest things we have at the moment was the KeSPA Cup qualies. We touched on that a little bit last week. We're going to go who got in this week from the EU and the NA qualies, and we're going to do a little bracket overview. But first, we're going to go into, I think, what is the fan favorite tournament to happen once every month now. He's back. You know him, you love him. We have Total Biscuit with his ShoutCraft Kings.
Yes, and this is an absolutely fantastic tournament. Great thing for people who aren't really into StarCraft to, see some cool games. It's a best of one, King of the Hill, totally different format. Winner gets 250 bucks, 20 games. Winner picks the next match. You got Koreans, you got non-Koreans, you got crazy games, you got all kinds of interesting things, totally relevant to BlizzCon. And it's cool because you see some guys going on deep streaks and you get to see it every month. So it happened last weekend. If you haven't checked it out, we'll be talking about it. But if you want to check out one of the games in particular, they're all available on YouTube. Or, you can check out Total Biscuit's Twitch. He'll be streaming it every month. But yeah, it was a really good, fun month of games for sure.
Yeah, working with the Muslims, so we have a good, Terran commentary. And speaking of Terrans, we had our GSL champion start us off and go and just wreak havoc for these first 8 games, taking out some sick players. Neeb, Hurricane, Scarlet, Gumiho, Innovation, Patience,
Yeah, and
Reality.
2 grand too. I mean, let's talk
Wow,
about that. 2,000 easy dollars for Beyond.
wow. Yeah, that's. I mean, he's already winning money, but now he's just, he's cashing it in right now, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him for for getting in while he can, and going on these deep runs. He's one of the players. As much as I'd love to say that I want an American or at least a North American to win BlizzCon, he's actually one of my favorites that I want to see
You
do
just
well.
can't root against this guy. I mean, he's cool. He's
No,
and the nice thing is he needs this money
great
because
story.
he ain't getting no money from his team. He's his own coach. He's the man.
Yep,
He's
got to
totally
pay those
different.
bills.
He's got to pay those bills. He's lived on his own apartment, no team
Just got
house.
a puppy. I mean, yeah, that shit's expensive. Puppies are expensive.
Beyond is the man. Totally different from what you see a lot of times with these Koreans. Like just a different personality. A lot of fun to watch. Really emotional, and it's cool because he's playing games against a lot of guys
Yeah.
that he'd been practicing with for his recent GSL championship. So that made it a little bit interesting. Started out with Neeb, and I feel like he kind of knew how to play Neeb. Just kind of take
Yeah.
away Neeb's vision and beat Neeb on New Gettysburg to start things out.
Yeah, I mean, Neeb's a good player, but I mean, with them playing each other, Neeb definitely should have had, somewhat of an advantage as well, just going up against it. But, that works both ways. Just Beyond's been playing out of his mind, playing, top Protoss players. At that point, it just didn't kind of matter.
Yeah, it totally made Neeb look like I don't want to say like an inferior opponent. Just you could tell that Neeb knew what to do, but
It didn't
Beyond,
translate.
Beyond just knew like how to shut it down, how to take
Yep.
advantage of him. Neeb was out on the field with the Stalkers, totally blind after he took out his observer, and Beyond was just sniping his third, keeping him at home, just totally abusing Neeb, and went on a deep run after that too. It was really cool.
Yeah, he was able to beat Hurricane. He had an excellent defense and was able to do a nice counter push to take him out. And then going up against Scarlet, he was able to get some good creep denial. And, we both saw those sick Widowmine hits. I mean, I think we can agree that's kind of what did it.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that Beyond is really good. He got a little bit lucky in this tournament too. I mean, you don't want to say that about a player as good as Beyond, but let's straight up, like he got a little bit of fortune, lady luck on his side in this tournament, but he was still playing his butt off because beating a Zerg on cross positions on Frost is not easy, and we all know how good like Scarlet's creep spread is out of control, and he was able to like totally shut that down and just knew when Scarlet was the weakest and push. He gets each wave of units out, knows how to use them, is able to think like what the Muslim was saying, thinking like 3 steps ahead of the game, like some sort of inhuman.
Oh yeah,
some sort of robot, man. But
if aliens are real, Beyond is one of them. He's been replaced, right? Revenge or Return of the Body Snatchers or whatever that shitty 80s movie was.
That's right. If innovation's an AI, then Beyond's got to be an alien, right?
Exactly. And then the luck streak kind of continues going up against innovation, going for a crazy doom drop while he's behind and just pulling it out of his ass basically and making it work.
Like innovation totally was going mech and had him beat like just every aspect of the game. Innovation was winning, and here comes Beyond, like dropping on Apotheosis all in essentially with a bunch of Marauders and totally abuses innovation, and they get in this weird base trade situation. He gets lucky initially, but is totally able to just know exactly where to be with his army and makes innovation just kind of look silly. And you're talking about innovation,
Innovation's good. He's innovative.
He is, and that's funny because he didn't used to be that way, but he's playing that matchup differently, and he totally had Beyond in a corner, and Beyond just fought his way out of it. Really cool match right there. If you're into TVT, definitely check that one out.
Then we see Patience, trying to do a little Mothership Core, a little cheeky harass there. And Beyond just saying, nah, bro, just, slapping that shit down like a cat balling a fucking toy.
It's funny because he did, Patience just got a little too cocky out there with that Mothership Core. Yeah. And Beyond said, nah, you're going to pay for that.
Yeah, Beyond said, fuck that. Get that shit out of here.
These Widowmines got something to say about that Mothership Core. And it's funny because Beyond, just talking about it, Beyond knows what he has and how to use it, and totally showed that in that game against Patience.
Yeah, then playing another sick TVT with Gumiho, coming down to the scannings with the Cloak Banshee action, some good scans. I mean, it could have went either way, but, Beyond just ended up taking it again.
Well, Beyond saw that, like, Gumiho had scanned, and then he comes in, he says, you got no answer to my Cloak Banshee now that you use your scan. What are you going to, that's 10 SCVs. You're 10 SCVs behind against a great Terran. What are you going to do at that point for your Gumiho?
Exactly.
Not much.
And then it's funny because, we see him beat these great Koreans, and who does he lose to? Is probably the best foreigner right now, Nurchio.
Well, you can't say that Nurchio's that much worse than these Koreans right now. I mean, Nurchio showed some really good games in this tournament.
I mean, how I would rank them, I would say, here's Nurchio on the ladder, and this is like mid-level Korean, and I would say, like, here's Beyond. So, I mean, there is a gap there.
Yeah.
But he's right here. He's not. He's nipping at the heels. Where in the past, here's been the top Koreans and here's been the top foreigners.
Yep. It's crazy because we didn't think this would happen. I've always felt like putting the Koreans and the foreigners in the same place is going to make the foreigners get better. But we've had all the foreigners saying that's not the case, and it looks like they're right. Like,
yeah, with the region lock, they only Hearthstone, but everyone thinks Hearthstone's dumb for saying that, so it doesn't really matter. But no, they've all been able to elevate, their games. The Koreans that have come over have helped them, bring their games to the next level, and they've bridged that gap.
Yeah, and we got foreigners competing now, even living in Korea, and guys like Scarlet and Neeb, or guys and girls, we should say. But yeah, Nurchio going on a really good run here and showing. It's really cool because we're looking forward to BlizzCon now. I mean, all eyes are on BlizzCon, and this tournament kind of shows us it's setting the stage for that. And Nurchio potentially could do this there, so it's cool. I mean, who did he take out here?
He beat Beyond, Maru, Creator, Liquid Bunny, Rogue, Myungsik, Cats, and Ryung.
I mean, those are some good.
That's opponents. A tough list. That is a tough list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want
to. I could probably only beat Okay, 0, but
Yeah, maybe cats, right? Well, no, no, okay, maybe not.
probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Never. Like maybe one out of
Maybe,
100.
maybe minigun.
But really good games. Nurcio just showed like, and the funny thing is, Bjorn went out there, totally just destroyed a lot of these guys. And maybe innovation he was behind, and one most of these games he was like just dominating.
Yeah, yeah.
Nurcio made Bjorn look silly.
Yeah, King Station, hit him with the Ling Bane style. He was able to deflect the drops with minimal damage, took out his tanks, and overwhelmed that Bio army with the Ling Bane run bys.
It was crazy because he was able to, while attacking his natural on King Sejon, just destroy like the SCV line. I mean, it was really all about the engage previously, but it was funny because it all came down to Nurcio being able to like defend the initial drops, and that's what he did the entire time. Is just getting to that late game when he knows how to play that later game. Whether it's Infestor, Ravager, or Ling Bane, or whether it's Lurker, whatever it is, he knows how to play the mid to late game, and he knows how to get there. And I think that's the most important part about Nurcio is he knows how to defend and get to the get greedy. He's able to make drones in the face of his opponent, and he did that in a lot of these games, especially against Terrans right now.
Oh yeah, he's the Game of Drones man. I mean, he knows how to get it done, And I think part of beyond losing, might have been just being tired. I mean, he's coming off some really major wins. He's winning even more. He's cashing it out on this tournament as well. But after beating 8 great players, I think it was time. He's just like, I don't have any gas left in the tank. I just can't keep going.
Yeah, well, you can say that about Bjorn, but you can't take away from what Nurcio did here because
No, I mean Nurcio played one hell of a game, and obviously that shows by just who he goes on to beat. I mean the next game, he goes against Maru. Maru goes against these drops on Gettysburg. He deflects it with the roaches. He took the damage and then gets the economic lead in the end game.
yeah, I mean it's a hard map I think for Zerg in general, New Gettysburg. But it's crazy that he's able to defend with just roaches against a 2-base aggressive Maru. And you're talking about somebody that knows how to 2-base. And like,
oh yeah,
it seems like he's got some, I don't know, maybe he has map hacks. Let's just say it. I hear accusing Nurcio. He's got map hacks.
Only when he plays a velo and when David Kim's giving him the hookups.
It just seems like he does though. Like he knows how to defend all his bases at once, and he totally shut down Maru. And we're talking about Maru, it's crazy.
Yeah, Mario's a damn good player, and then we see him go against, Creator on Frost, and he used this, kind of weird, kind of what's not in the meta, but like a weird Hydra Ling Lurker army, which I don't think we normally see very often, especially from high-level Zergs.
Well, not Korean Zergs, and I think that's part of what Nurcio has going for him, is he just plays the game differently, too, especially against Protoss.
He doesn't play the Korean meta right now.
He doesn't go for a lot of these Koreans go for strong, aggressive builds. He goes for the lurkers, and none of these Koreans knew what to do with it. He was able to go, and it was all on Frost. He was able to just go around the side on Frost and abuse the third base positioning. But every Protoss who played him on that map until he finally lost was just losing their third base to lurkers. And what are you gonna do? You can't fight lurkers if you don't have the right tech. I mean, it's a tough unit to beat, and Nurcio knows how to use lurkers. Like absolutely.
Yep. Then he goes ahead and gets the economic advantage on Rogue on King Sejong after Rogue goes for a 3-hatch build.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like he didn't go for some aggressive, build order win. Like Rogue went for 3-hatch, and Nurcio pretty much played safe and just got the advantage by going for just getting good Bane micro, and eventually was able to come in with a Roach attack after getting ahead on workers against a 3-hatch without really going all in. Like Nurcio, just looking a Rogue. I mean, Rogue right now seems to me like one of the best Zergs, and Nurcio made him look kind of silly straight up.
Yeah. Then we had him play Myung-Sik on Frost again, and again we see that Lurker Hydra, and I think the biggest mistake we see Myung-Sik go is, he doesn't grab the disruptors. He tries to take it out with Immortals, and I think when you have that Ling Hydra Lurker composition, Immortals don't cut it.
Well, it's weird because Lurkers, like the countered Lurkers is Immortals, but he's able to use just the Ling Hydra and kind of keep that Immortal count, attack and be aggressive and keep his army, and he does that so well. He does that so well, kind of being everywhere, and he keeps that Immortal count kind of low, and then it's just you can't be everywhere.
No, you can't win that without a lot of Sentries and a lot of Adepts, in there at the same time. And that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, and he doesn't get that. He doesn't let the early damage hurt him, and a lot of those players were going for some of that early Adept Harass, and
Yeah.
couldn't get it done. You know, he's really good, like we said, at defending the early game and getting to that place where he's strong.
Yep, just got and then the next game he gets the economic lead against Cats, starves them out, and then he's able to hold on with Roaches against a sick Ryung push and able to shut that down too.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool that Cats was playing here. Cats played a really fun game. Cats is always cool to watch. Shout out to Cats. And then Ryung, yeah. I mean, Nurchio just playing his ass off straight up, and then
Yep.
he ends up losing to a foreigner.
Yeah, losing to Mana coming out of the corner, putting the pace jar down, getting back on and showing everyone, hey, I'm still here. I can still play games.
Coming out the shadows, just staring him down, in Mana style, and he used disruptors. He did what. It's funny because I don't think he necessarily played better against what typically Zergs would do, but he just knows how to beat. Nurchio.
He played smarter.
He played smarter, yeah.
It's about playing smarter.
And he also got to watch Nurchio's games probably too, which helped.
That's true. That's true, definitely. But then Mon was able to take out a couple good players. Beat Nurchio, beat Laser, beat Showtime, and beat Thermal. A lot of those guys are going to BlizzCon. And able to take them down. That's no small feat on its own.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you know what? It's weird because there was only 4 games left. He took 4 out of the last 4. If there would have been another 4 opponents, it's weird because in this style, you get a good advantage with being able to pick the map. Mana could have gone on and taken out, more opponents. I know he didn't play as difficult of opponents as some of, especially compared to what Beyond played, but really cool for Mana. He's always out there, and they were talking a lot about the liquid. I think it was like liquid boot camp, and apparently he's been, doing extra burpees at boot camp. So, shout out to Mana getting it done. He's been throwing down 2 a days hard, right?
Putting the work in and getting it done, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where we ended it with Mana taking it. So he'll start off as King of the Hill next week, or not next week. I'm sorry, next month.
Next month, yeah.
Yep, for the next ShoutCraft Kings. But moving forward, we do have our next segment. So what we're going to talk about is KeSPA Cup. We're going to talk about who got in for the EU qualies and the NA qualies, and then we're going to go over an overview of the bracket of who's playing. We'll kind of go briefly into that. We're not going to get too in depth, but we'll kind of look at that bracket.
Just show the bracket, yeah.
Exactly. How's your mic, man? Is it doing good?
We're live in HD.
All right, sick. All right, so first, going into this bracket, we had a lot of good players for EU. It was the typical crowd, and I think it was cool that the Muslim actually signed up. Didn't get very far, got booty slapped by Hero Marine, but it was just fun to see him even there. But we ended up having Marine Lord go up against Nurchio in the winners bracket, and then Marine Lord beats Nurchio 3-2. But then we have the flip, and we go into their losers bracket, and we actually have Hero Marine lose to Nurchio, and then Nurchio get through anyway. So that's kind of a good storyline. I kind of like that they both got through.
And as we've seen, Nurchio being a killer of Koreans, and we know what happened in Nation Wars, so looking forward to some guys that can potentially upset the Koreans. So yeah. I think that happens this weekend. Do you know? We'll see that in the brackets because we have it. I'm going to pull up the brackets. We'll see the date on it. But yeah, that's coming up real soon. So that'll be fun to watch.
And then we had our NA bracket, and again we had some of the typical crowd. We got True, Scarlet Neeb, in there, and a couple others. Masa, yeah, Major was there, Puck was there. A lot of the big names, Calthazar, people that we've all talked about before.
Yep.
And I think one of the interesting things that we're going to hit on here real quick is in the first bracket, Neeb loses to Scarlet 3-1, and then True beats Scarlet 3-1, so True moves on. And then we go to the losers bracket. Now Neeb actually fights his way back. He beats Major 2-0, and then beats Violet 2-1, and then plays Scarlet to go through and beat Scarlet in a 3-2. So making the comeback, losing to her, before, and then coming right back and then just slapping it down and saying, "Nah, I'm the one going, not you." Again, him beating her.
That's the coolest thing is it seems there's this really interesting NA rivalry between Scarlet and Neeb, and it always goes back and forth. It seems like Scarlet maybe hasn't been performing as well lately, but it always goes back and forth, and these two are in Korea right now playing with each other so much, and it's so cool to watch. Both of them just throwing it down for NA, so really fun, really cool. And Neeb will represent and True will represent for Psystorm, so yeah, maybe we'll have to get our guest on again, huh?
Yeah, well, we might have to. So then we have the the next round's coming up. So we have Group A, B, C, and D,
Let
and
me
then the
pull this
first
up
one will
real
happen
quick
on
and
the.
go full screen. All right.
Yep. So we have Group A, which will take place on September 27th. So that's going to be a Tuesday for all of us North Americaners. And Group A is like the group of death right now because we have Zest, Beyond, Neeb, and Rogue. I say it's pretty much a. So I mean, I think that's like the complete group of death at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you're
And
talking about some really good players there. Some, SSL, GSL champions, respectively, right?
coin coin flip. Yep, anyone could come out of that group at all. Group B, we got Hero, Pet, True, and TY. So again, still pretty good players. It's good to see Hero there. Good to see True and TY. I mean, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Pet's gonna do. I mean, I have not, I don't know who the hell Pet is. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it might be more luck that he's there than anything, but we'll see, I guess. Then we have Group C. We've got Stats, Solar, Marine Lord, and Trap. So we got one of our foreigners in there. And then Group D, we have Maru, Patience, Nurchio, and Classic. So Nurchio, the only Zerg in that group, gonna have to try to make some stuff happen again to get out.
Yeah, I really like this format. I think it's really cool that we see one foreigner in each group, and I'm one of these guys that I love seeing Koreans play. I think it's really cool what Nurchio's doing, but I think this is a better format. Put one foreigner in each bracket, see if they can make it through a real test, right?
The only
See if
thing
they can beat these real Koreans, and I think that they could. I mean, I literally think that every one of these foreigners, like Marine Lord, in that
True.
group against Stats and Solar and Trap, like, why not? Why couldn't he make it through? Like, this is a really good
Yeah,
setup, and it's going to
I
be fun
think
to watch.
Marine Lord's got good odds, and I think Nurchio's got good odds. I think Neeb's got a stack group, and I think True's a Korean, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Rip Neeb. I feel bad for him, man.
The only thing I really don't like about this is like this is like our last big tournament before BlizzCon, and they've kind of ruined the foreigner Korean hype for BlizzCon now. Because
Well, I mean,
up until this point we haven't seen it, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're gonna throw in this last minute tournament basically, and we're gonna kind of ruin the hype of that.
I think it's cool because it's a preview. We get to see these best players, and you start thinking about it. You start thinking about, okay, we've watched GSL all year, we've watched SSL all year. What's it gonna look like? We've watched the Dream Hacks all year. What's Neeb gonna do? What's
Yeah.
Marine Lord? What's Marine? Is it
I
just
mean,
a weird thing where they're playing offline? And he wins the Foreigner Cup or whatever, or is he that guy?
it's not like it's like not gonna be good games. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's kind of anticlimactic. Like we have this huge build up. Here it is, and then all of a sudden we have this little one right before that is kind of like, yeah, it's a preview, but
Well, it's not the real deal. I mean, it's not live. It's not BlizzCon. There's not that much money on the line. It's different. BlizzCon is BlizzCon, and
Yeah, BlizzCon is the bigger tournament for sure. But
this isn't near BlizzCon. So I think it's very. I think that in the minds of SOS. Well, he's not going to be at BlizzCon, so you can't talk about him. But there's all that money on the line. It's different, right?
Yeah.
It's different.
yeah. So we have a couple of things for general news. We're moving on. We got quite a few fluff stories this week. I would say. We have one team that's closing down. Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye to Team Gravity. They've departed from us, which I know we've all heard about. And then we actually have one team coming back into the scene. So we're losing a team, then we're gaining a team. We have Team Red Blacks, which I think disbanded like 6 months ago. And now
Well,
made their return.
when one door opens or closes, another one opens, right?
Yep. Yep. And, they've got Poppy Joe, Space Marine, Lakin. I mean, they've got, quite a few good talents on that. So make sure you check those guys out as they come back. I'm sure we'll see them, as things progress with this year.
Yeah, Space Marine, a cool guy. Definitely one of those guys that's good to watch if you're trying to get a good build over,
Yeah.
and always streaming too. So shout outs to Space Marine.
A very, very stupid and minor thing that we're going to cover is BattleNet name is going to be phased out. So it's no longer going to be Battle.net, but like Blizzard Tech, I think is what they've decided to go with, which it's stupid. Why change it? It's already been Battle.net for years. Everyone knows what Battle.net is. Why go through a change? And B, I think Blizzard Tech sounds stupid.
It just sounds stupid, right?
There's nothing else to say about it. All right, we'll talk a little bit of kind of Korean. So, I mean, we all kind of remember Sulky. Well, apparently there's a situation where TCM owes him salary and has not paid him for 5 months. Now, there was some speculation on the drop that it maybe was in like the clause of his contract, like, hey, if you don't show up at this, or this, or don't do this, or this, you will not be paid. And I heard Penguin talk about how he's worked with some of the Koreans, that he's helped sign contracts with, and kind of help them in that process. And he's like, a lot of them don't even read it. They just see, okay, how much am I making? How long is the term? Sign my name. They're not reading all these small clauses. So that may be the case. I don't want to comment on it a whole lot. I just don't know enough. But I at least want to mention that it's out there and that it happened.
It's hard to really comment unless you know all the details. But I will say this: when you like read your insurance policy, to sign it, do you read every 37 pages? Probably not.
Absolutely. Every time I read all the user agreements on anything that I've ever downloaded, of course.
Yeah, obviously. You just write TOAST, right? And then just.
I sign it. I don't even put my own name. I just sign it Toast.
Yeah.
That way I can't legally be liable for anything.
There you go.
They can sue the bread box. I don't care. All right. So then we have, I think, our most interesting fluff news piece right now is we have what is being called the VSL, which is a Korean team league to come in. Now, this is not going to have WCS points. This is more just like a side thing that's going on right now. But the prize goal is going to be 1 million. I don't know what their currency.
I just got a job offer from Korea. It's like god damn it, I can't remember.
It's KRW. I have no idea. Maybe it's the Korean won. I have no idea. Anyway, but it's 10 million. First place gets 5. Second place gets 3. Third and fourth place each get 1. So still some decent money to be made. And I doubt we'll see any KeSPA Koreans in that, since
But that's cool. I mean, it's tough because I think that you see some of these lower level foreigners getting a chance with the way that we have it set up here. You only see the really high level Koreans right now. So I think it's cool that based off the way it is right now, people have said this starves out the Koreans. Great. There's something for the lower, the GSL Code A players.
Code A,
to do.
Yep. Code A, Code B, yep. Get them in there, get them broadcasted. Let's see some talent. Maybe get them signed to a KeSPA team or a foreign team.
Hell yeah! I mean, give the incentive there, and let these guys have a salary, play, and more content, the better. Great.
Here's something that I like I like the duration. It's going to be the 6th of October through the 16th of October through the 6th of November. So not quite a full month. So it's.
But perfect. It's just before BlizzCon too,
Yeah, so I kind of like that this is going to help fill, but I also like the idea of seeing some of these people maybe we haven't seen in a while. And it's going to be so this is going to be open access. So this is going to be anyone living in Korea, foreigners too, that's older than 12 and is playing in Masters League or above.
So no regrets going to be there.
Exactly. And maybe Scarlet Neeb, who knows?
Yeah.
So now here's another interesting piece. Teams will have to have a member of each race, which I think is pretty interesting. So there's no, one Terran, 4 Zergs. You need to have one member of each race represented.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a best of 7 all-kill format. Qualifiers will determine the 8 teams who advance into the main event. And the offline will be a qualifier like on the 9th of October, so prior. So we won't know, what teams are in there until they're there. And then this is going to happen at the VSL Twitch studios, which is where the Olima League finals are held. If you're in that area for some reason and watching this, just to let you know.
Do you know if they'll have an English cast, or is there any information about the casters? Because I haven't looked up on this.
Not at this point, but I mean, if it's at the VSL Twitch studio, I would assume so, because there is a Olima League. I mean, it may be. Yeah. It could be base trade. If I had to guess though, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see like Valdez or like Rapid there.
That'd be cool. It's just cool. There's more options for people to, more content and more options for, lower level players. Some of the, B team casters, even, a great thing for StarCraft. I think I'm really, really excited about this. I think it's
definitely.
Great.
I'm actually really. I mean, it's almost right up there with BlizzCon, just to be honest, just because it's different. I like the idea of new.
And it's great because we have this gap. Like we have this gap before BlizzCon, and it fills it perfectly. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so now we're going to kind of move into the last portion of the show today. We're going to talk balance. We're not going to get like super in depth, but we will talk, like the main changes, what's going on, and how we kind of think they're going to affect the game itself.
Yeah, so
and then we'll take our questions.
Oh no, that's
and then
not this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not anymore. But then when we get done with this, we'll get you guys out of here. We'll get you on your way, or if you're, in the car listening, you can finally get out and go to work or go in to see your wife.
Um,
So let's start with Terran. Obviously the weakest race, so clearly they have the most buffs. I mean, it only makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
The first thing I guess we'll talk about is Cyclone. Cyclones now do a ton of damage to mech units, which mech has been given to most Protoss units. Immortals, Stalkers, Sentries, Colossus are all now classified as mechanical. So now they're going to take extra damage from Cyclones, which I think they're going to be. I think we're going to see more Cyclone openers now again in TVP, just because they're so good against that. Like that can pretty much hold off any early Stalker aggression.
yeah.
I mean, the depths are still viable, but I think with this how much damage they're doing, that's really going to be easy for for Terran to shut down Protoss early game now.
So the next one is the tank, right?
Yeah. Siege tank's now getting like 35 extra damage, which is like insane DPS. So like, I mean, it's meant to be. It is a tank. I mean, it should do huge amounts of damage. At this point though, I think it's honestly doing a little bit too much. But they're losing the medevac, the drop style. So
Yeah,
I mean, something that I could see, a good thing on Protoss is doing like direct adept dropping. So loading up, two warp prisms, dropping my adepts directly onto the tanks themselves without letting them get those volleys.
yeah.
I mean,
But at the
it's
same time, this
it's
is a good option for the Terran to hold off a depth pressure because we all know how strong that a depth pressure can be, right?
yeah, or Roach Ravager pressure. Or even like Bling Bane, like trying to do like heavy floods, like that one siege tank on the high ground is now going to be more than worth it.
Yeah,
The only thing I don't like about the really that I really don't like about the tanks now is, and I think in our TVT matches, we're just going to see extreme turtleneck become like the thing.
yeah. That's my big fear. I mean, it's hard to know how this is going to play out. I haven't played a whole bunch of balance test matches because I play Protoss, and they aren't getting that many changes. But I used to play Zerg in Heart of the Swarm,
Yeah.
mostly after the Swarm host nerf, and playing against mech just wasn't fun. It's
Yep.
no nothing against the Villo. It's just it's not you. It's just it's something about mech, and it's you know I know that Artosis loves it, but I just hate playing against turtleneck. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to know how this is going to change. Whether it's all proposed, right? So we don't know what it's going to look like. But I just don't
Yeah.
want to see. I don't want to see cancer. That's all. I just don't want to.
Yeah. Libs are getting the remove the plus light damage, so they won't be getting, like extra damage done towards like mutas and stuff, which I think is fine because like they're still gonna have like the splash. They're just not gonna deal as much damage. So I feel like it's just because like the Liberator should not be like for like mass anti-air. Like that's not what it is. Like it's not meant to be the muta counter.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a siege unit. So I mean I don't honestly think that that's a big deal. I don't think people are gonna be
Right, and it's hard
too
because
sad.
Zerg just doesn't make mutas that much in CVT anymore, and that used to be a big
Yeah.
part of it. The Liberator
Yeah.
just totally shuts that down, and I think that's
Yeah.
good. A lot of changes, so it's hard to talk about one without talking about the others. But that's kind of cool that it gives Zerg the option to go muta again.
Yeah, and then Thors now are getting a splash radius buff, so They're gonna do a little bit more wide of a spread. They had kind of nerfed that coming in to Wings, or I'm sorry, Legacy.
Yeah,
So now they're gonna get a little. It's gonna be a little bit bigger. It's not gonna be huge, but you're really gonna need to make sure you magic box your mutas really well if you want to fight Thors against them.
which is great. I
I
think
mean,
that Thor is a better anti-air, anti-muta unit than is the Liberator. I think it makes more sense.
yeah. I mean, if you're playing mech, you'll probably we might even see both start to be in the meta. Just going one of each and just having that anti-air. Like if you see them going to a muta switch. I don't think that's how Zerg is going to play this though. I think it's more gonna. I think we're going to see more. Uh, Honestly, I think Davy's trying to make the swarm host more viable. I think we're going to see more swarm hosts, if anything, to be honest, right now, just because of the free supply. And I think with if you're cheeky enough with how you use it, I think it can be effective with these new units, especially now that the Cyclone has that weaker anti-air lock on, and that's not going to be auto-casted. You have to select that.
Yeah,
So I could see like some sick, like weird, like swarm host drops being a thing.
yeah. So
You know?
we don't want to talk as much about the numbers as much about like how the game is going to look after these changes. So Terran's obviously getting the biggest changes.
Yeah.
The Cyclone doesn't do damage to air anymore unless it's a lock on. It's very different. My biggest thing is I don't want to see, I don't want to see pure mech, just turtle mech. I think that's very silly. I think Legacy of the Void is great at creating shorter, more fun, interesting games. I know TVT has been a big problem, so I know that the tanks kind of help with that. But we'll see. It's cool. Hopefully, the Swarm host can be used. We certainly don't want to see Swarm host like they were. I mean, we just don't want to see situations where you get to be these long, drawn out, silly stalemate games.
We'll just see
really
Infestor
hope that's
Broodlord.
what happened. Or Infestor Broodlord, right?
It's coming back. All right, so the Vikings gonna do extra damage now versus mechanical when it lands. That's kind of important. They're gonna be at least useful when they land. I mean, I don't really hate that.
It's interesting.
So, um, battle cruiser change. I don't like this. No more energy bar. It now just has spells. So there's no more feedbacking those. I think that's silly.
That is really interesting. I mean, you never see battle cruisers anyway, so it's hard to say how it plays out, right?
Yeah, but that just I think it almost makes it like too viable at that point, like because the reason why they weren't viable before is because like it took forever to build up the energy, um, and then even when you did, they were getting feedback. So like it's like okay, don't use this unit, but now it's like, oh yeah, you can just like warp in and like warp out basically, like no.
Well, I'm all for making the battle cruiser great again.
Well, I guess we'll see how that works. And then we have the Raven, which basically just it's getting a little bit of change. The auto turret damage is going to be increased from 16 to 24. It's just going to be a little more useful. I mean, I don't think we see a lot of Raven auto turrets. I think we more see PDRs, but I mean, at least it's making it viable since it is an option for the Raven.
Yeah, and again, all this is subject to change.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know a lot of this is going to go through. We'll move on to Protoss. So for Protoss, we have the first thing is the Tempest now is going to lose its what is it? No, I just completely forgot what it was.
It's not anti.
It can't shoot the same. It can still shoot the max distance for air, but it can't shoot the max distance for ground now.
Oh,
that's the point. Like it's really shortening up the distance for ground. So yeah, you can still use it to take out like a lot of Vikings and stuff. Like let's say you're going like Colossus, Tempest, right, and you're fighting against Vikings. Well, then you can kind of zone out those Vikings still. But then when you get in the ground army, like they're not going to be that helpful against ground units now.
And they have more supply.
Yeah, they went up in supply. And then the other thing they have now is it's called the Disruption Sphere. It's a 35-second spell that basically deals like something like 500 damage, I think, over the course of like 30 seconds.
It's crazy.
It doesn't affect the Protoss units, so I mean I can see it being helpful for defenses and also for like mineral line harassment. I don't know how
I've seen this played out in some balanced test matches. It's crazy damage. So we'll see if this makes it through or not. I get a sense that it might. At least changed in some way.
I feel like it's less about the damage and more about the zone out ability. I mean, it's kind of like instead of using a Sentry Force field, you play sense like okay, you can walk through that, but it's gonna weaken you.
Yeah.
And if your tanks are sieged up in it, I mean, they're just slowly gonna die.
It's just crazy in mineral lines. Like it would if it does get implemented, it totally changes like how you have to defend your mineral lines against Tempest because it totally just decimates not only like your CC or your hatchery, but it just like kills your mineral line and it makes it so it's like a liberator kind of. You just can't even go there anymore.
Yep. The research now. The next thing we have is the Zealot. Now the charge research upgrade will now increase the Zealot's movement speed also. So not only will it actually physically charge, it'll also be just regularly faster, which will actually really help because I feel like charge slots are not like super viable in a lot of matches. Like they're still useful, but I feel like this actually like makes them like a viable like tech option, not just like. I can try it and see if it works.
It still sucks that you can't really use them until you get the charge upgrade because the charge upgrade is so expensive. But we were seeing a lot of Zealots charge lots early in Legacy of the Void. We haven't seen them as much anymore, so I think it makes sense to give you another option instead of just how many adepts can I build kind of thing.
Yep. Next, small change carriers. Now they remove the interceptor release ability, and now interceptors are just going to cost 5 minerals instead of 25, and the auto build is enabled from the start, so those will just like keep cycling. Like you're not going to have to click to build it each time. It's just going to automatically build them as they die, which cool. I don't think we see. Yeah, I mean I don't think we see carriers enough for that to make a really big difference. I mean I guess I like it, but I don't feel like unless I'm playing team games I'm not going to use carriers a lot anyway.
Protect is pissed right
So
now.
yeah. Next we have the DT change, which I think is the biggest thing that upset like every other race the most, and I really think they're overhyping it because like it's cool, but I don't think it's as useful as you think it is. So basically, the DT, it's gonna have a short distance blink that's gonna come from the Dark Shrine. It's gonna be 150, 150 cost, and have 121-second research time. So it's gonna take forever to get, and
Yeah,
it's gonna have a 21-second cooldown.
it
So
doesn't hit
basically,
when you do your DT rush essentially.
yeah. So if you've ever played like not co-op, but if you've ever played like the campaign mode, you know how like the DTs have like the little blink ability. Well, now that's going to be a thing. So they're kind of be like Zeratul, where they can kind of like go in and harass a mineral line, and then as soon as the Terran's coming in, they're able to blink away if available, basically, to get out of that scan and not just
Yeah.
be useless and
The
die.
thing to remember about this is that it's a crazy upgrade. If you go for a DT rush, it's another 2 minutes on top of your rush. It's really something you see more in the late game. I think it is strong, but I don't think we should say that's crazy because Protoss isn't getting that many changes except for the Tempest. So this one
Yeah,
though, it does seem weird. It's gonna be something they'll I'm sure watch and pay close attention to because that can be tough for Terran. You scan and
yeah.
then they blink, right?
Well, and I think on the flip side, it can also be really good versus Zerg now, where you're able to actually blink up quick, maybe take out a spore, and then kill the queen, and get some sick
Yeah,
mineral line damage, and then by the time he comes up there, with an observer, you can just blink right out.
yeah.
So
And it is more late game, so I think it's cool.
yeah, yeah, we'll have to see. Well, this again, this is one of those things we're just gonna have to see. So moving on into Zerg. Swarm hosts have been adjusted. They're changing in supply. They're gonna, their range is now gonna be a little bit bigger. Davies just gonna try to make them viable. I don't think there's a whole lot to say. I think they're still gonna be a minor unit. I don't think that's really gonna change a whole lot.
It's definitely not your major army comp the way it was in HOTS. I think that's good. I think that the cooldown essentially has made it so that'll never be the case. If we could see more Swarm hosts, that's good. We saw them in that one match at the SSL, and aside from that, it's never really been used in high level
Yeah.
competitive games, so it's a good
Yep.
thing. But as long as they're not the way they were before.
Yeah. Next we have the Ravagers, which have been added to the armored flag, the armored tag. So now, like Sagas will be better against them. I want to say they already removed that though. Like I want to say that that's already been something that they've decided not to do, which I think is silly. I actually like that just because I feel like, I mean, don't do it to roaches, but like do it to the Ravagers maybe. I don't know. Maybe I just died too much to roach Rav all-ins. Maybe I'm just biased. I
Might be a
guess
little bit of
I don't
salt
know.
there.
I might be a little salty. I don't know. Um, I think what Davey thinks is the biggest update is the Hydralisk. Range increasing from 5 to 6. They're now getting +1 range, and then base movement speed of 25%. And they're also getting another 25% speed boost off creep. So they're going to be really fast.
Yeah. And I think that's good. It
And
gives you better
and
micro
good
potential,
DPS.
right? And I think that that's something Zerg needs is more micro potential because it's not a highly micro intensive race at the moment.
Yeah,
Right? It's positional.
I think, yeah, more so. I think too. I think we'll see the more. I think it'll become a key unit more than we've seen it. I think people are just going to start throwing it in there just because of its speed. I mean, thinking about, I think we're going to see a lot more of kind of like how Nurgio plays, like with like the Ling Hydra.
Yeah. And I think it's good
Like
because
I
it
think we'll see
encourages
more of
creep
that.
spread. Creep spread is such a big part of a good Zerg. So it gives
Yeah,
you that advantage on creep, right? And it also helps
yeah,
you shut down a warp prism, which is a huge thorn in Zerg's side right now.
yeah. Next thing is we got Banelings getting a health bust, a health buff from 3 30 HP to 40 HP. It's going to be harder for like Marines and like for Protoss to like kite them away and without like, using force fields or something. So they're just going to be more viable and harder to defend against. So
If
I don't
you
know.
get Bane, it just makes Bane busts stronger too. I don't know. I mean, Banelings to me are really strong right now, but it's hard
Yeah.
because there's so many changes going on, right? Maybe it makes tanks stronger, but then they got to buff Banelings to help Zerg against tanks.
Yep.
So it's all kind of counterbalances at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. The last two things we'll cover is Infestors and Broodlords. Now, Infestor, one of these has already been removed. They had the Deep Burrow, which basically was like a worm where it could like teleport basically to any place on the map.
Yeah,
And then it can also cast while burrowed, which I think they still have that as ability, but now the Deep Burrow is gone, so it can't just like teleport, which I think that was stupidly broken when people were doing it.
It's crazy, definitely.
And then Broodlords now the range has been reduced a little bit from 11 to 10. So really not that big of a deal either.
Yeah, I mean, it's here's the thing: it's all a lot of changes. It's all like we said, really depends. One race's buffs is another one's nerfs, and all these changes depend on each other. The biggest thing
Yeah, I
about
mean,
this is
I
we
don't.
haven't watched a whole lot of high level competitive games. There is a ladder ability to play against people on this test map, and we just want to get questions. If you guys have a strong opinion about this, you have played a lot of test maps. Tell us what you think. Tweet at us at the Dank Shrine and let us know because this is a big thing. It's going to change our entire game. Probably after BlizzCon, this gets implemented, and it makes the game completely different. So it's a big thing we should all be paying attention to.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a ton of real matchup changes. I think the biggest thing is we're going to see again more turtle from Terrans, more turtle mech play. Protoss, I think, is going to pretty much be the same. I don't think we're actually going to see a whole lot of difference. I don't think that the changes they made are really going to affect the matchups that much.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you'll see the blink. Like you're going to see the blink DTs. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to see them, but I'm talking about like specifically like in the matchup. You're not going to see it like Protoss
It's just a late game.
vastly changed.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in Zerg, really the only difference I can see is I can just see the Hydras becoming a little more viable with their increased speed and with like you were saying the better creep spread. I can just see that becoming like more of like a key unit.
I like that one. I like the Hydra thing because roaches don't scale well, and I think it gives a better option to make Hydras instead of roaches and still survive. So it's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all we had for the balance test. Unless you wanted to say anything else about it.
No, I think that brings us into our next question, right?
Yeah, our last and final bit here, we're going to take viewer questions. We had one from Stefan Doris at Doris Stefan on Twitter, and he asked, Blizz seems to want to make bio or mech just a stylistic choice. Do you think both could be viable at the same time in all matchups? You want to go first?
I just know that David Kim doesn't watch this show, but if he does, David Kim, please let us have, we can coexist peacefully between bio and mech. Don't make us choose one.
I think how it currently is. I mean, bio was still always viable, and mech was viable, just less viable, and now it just makes it more so. I think we're going to see the favorite to mech styling, but no, I think there's players that are still going to go bio. Like I still think in all matchups, it's still going to be viable for both. I think you'll still see players that just prefer the mobility of bio, and then players that just want a turtle mech and just want to play the late game.
Yeah, I just don't want to see turtle mech be the way it was in HOTS. That's what that's my big fear.
Yeah. I think it'll be more stylistic based on the player, less on matchups. So it's like if you like more the bio and the mobility, you'll play that way, and if you like the turtle, perfect. You're gonna go double planetary with siege tanks. And yep,
oh,
Widow mines aplenty. Just making that late game happen.
Oh, man, I don't even want to talk about it too much. It's the biggest thing on this is this is a big thing. We want to get you guys' feedback on it. Tell us if you played a bunch of test maps, what you think. We'll take some questions about it. And yeah, thank you for that one. I really hope that we can see bio and mech come together. Coexist peacefully. That'd be great.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be? No, I'm not gonna sing. Anyway, but
come on, we're great friends, right?
We are great. All right, well, that's pretty much all the time we have for today's shows. We've pretty much beaten these topics to death. Tune in next week. We'll have more stuff to cover. We'll go over like King of the North, what's going on with any upcoming tournaments. Of course, we'll cover fluff. We may have a guest on. I'll see about getting one. I mean, guys, if you're a famous StarCraft player and you're watching the show for some reason, you want to come on, get at me at the Dank Shrine on Twitter. We'll get you on.
Even if you're not that famous, we're good with that. So let us know.
If you're semi-famous, that's fine. Even if you're not famous and you just really want to come on the show for some reason, we can talk about it. Yeah. You got something good to talk about, and you think like, hey, these guys are stupid, and they didn't talk about this.
I can make this show better. Let me on there. Let us know.
Come on up.
That's right.
Come on
down.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You're next on the Dank Shrine.
Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll get at you guys next week.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys checking us out. Remember to hit the sub button. We appreciate that. That does help us out. And then follow us on Twitter again at Dank Shrine. Till next week, guys, take it easy, be safe, and have fun.
Absolutely.